Genetic Counselling. Genetic counselling is a service which is important for families having genetic disorders or families having risk of genetic disorders. This service intended to estimate the risk a couple may have in conceiving a child with genetic disorders, provide necessary advice to avoid such instances. Genetic counseling is a profession that requires, on one side, a good knowledge of human genetics to understand how traits obeying the rules of simple mental inheritance would behave. On the other side, an ability to provide guidance to minimize the risk of having a child with a genetic disorder. If the family already has such child, genetic counselor would also provide advice how to manage the situation, how to plan the birth of next child. Some genetic disorders are multifactorial, which means the several factors including multi-gene inheritance that is also affected by environment. For example, heart attack, diabetes may be inherited, but the risk of developing disease is affected by external environmental factors such as lifestyle, food habits. Clear pattern of inheritance of the disease cannot be traced. The risk of the effects that follows the simple Mendelian laws of inheritance on a child to be conceived, estimated by studying the history of the family with regard to a particular disorder, hence becomes the genetic counseling. If the disorder caused by a dominant allele, it can be easily observed in the potential parents. If the allele is recessive, a parent or both parents with normal phenotype may be homozygous for dominant allele or heterozygous carrier. Tracing the history of the family with regards to the pedigree analysis would allow estimation of probability of parents being carriers, would estimate the probability of the risk of having a child with a disorder. The information available through pedigree analysis sometimes is sufficient to determine exactly the genotype of one or both parents. Techniques are now available to determine whether the already conceived fetus carries the mutant alleles. For this, the cells of early fetus are sampled, DNA sequenced to find out the presence or absence of mutant allele. If present, whether the fetus is homozygous or heterozygous. This information is very important to take well-informed decisions to keep the fetus or to abort it. Legislation of some countries allow abortions of such fetuses. which would otherwise be born with genetic disorders. Therefore, genetic counselor has a task of guiding the potential parents to make the best decision possible.